Welcome back everyone to my weekly series where I introduce you to new games to check out on Roblox. This is episode number 27, which means you've missed 26 episodes if this is your first one. Otherwise, if you've been watching along, thank you for watching and supporting the series because that means a lot. I'm seeing the series growing a lot. Some of these videos have just popped off on my channel, so thank you for the support. Also, if you are new to the series and have not subscribed yet, consider subscribing if you like discovering new games. Costs you nothing. Now, we have a variety of games today. We have some obbies. We got a pet catching game, which is not pet catchers, okay? It's just kind of in that genre. We've been waiting for this one for some time now. We have some PvP games as well as a shooter style scary game at the very end of the video. So don't worry, I'm not going to jump scare you with a bunch of, scary games. All right, so let's just get into it. And the first game we have here is Tales of Tanorio. Essentially, this is a lot like Lumion Legacy and Pokemon where you need to go around, you capture pets or capture new creatures, and you can battle other creatures and other players. The game's been pretty popular since its release. Just released like less than a week ago. Been pretty popular. It's floating around 8,000 to 10,000 players. This one's definitely worth checking out. I have a couple complaints myself. I feel like the dialogues are a little too slow. You end up having to click a lot, so it kind of disrupts the immersion of the story because you are just waiting for them to say something else, and then you have to keep clicking and clicking and clicking. For me, I just want to jump in and play, and I'm that kind of style of, gamer. I don't like having to sit through tutorials and be told a million things. That I just want to be less on rails and just be able to jump straight in. And that's kind of my main complaint for Tales of Tanorio. Also, they didn't have a music off option. So sadly, you're having to listen to my music and you can't hear this awesome voiceover that they had in the game. Pretty cool that they did do voiceovers for most of the characters, if not all of them. Also, the avatars are really cool. You actually see the eyes moving and such. So it feels a little bit more modern and polished, but the visuals are stunning. Clearly, they put in a lot of work on the storyline as well as the creatures. Hopefully, they'll make some improvements there. Maybe add a music off option, maybe a skip dialogue option. But if you want to check out Tales of Tanorio, definitely check it out. I will link it in the description below, as well as all of the games I'm about to show you today. Our next game is pretty charming, and it is called Snowball Migration. And this is an obby style game where you need to progress as a snowball and survive the wild or, nature essentially to get to the Arctic. Apparently you're heading back to snow because your area is melting. Really clever game. I like it. Definitely worth checking out. It's not too hard. I mean, at the start, you might have some struggles with the boat because the water seems to clip through the boat sometimes and it's kind of annoying. But my recommendation would be to just make sure you're not with another player who is causing the boat to kind of get wacky and start tilting wild. It's like this weird collision. So just be careful of that. After that, you should be good. Our next game is called Smooth Sailing, and it's pretty accurate. It is a smooth sailing game. Kind of a unique style game. I haven't seen anything on Roblox like it other than maybe The Long Drive. If you saw The Long Drive a few episodes ago, and in The Long Drive, you're in a car just trying to travel to the end and survive like various things. You need to loot, you need to, eat. It's kind of a survival style game more than Smooth Sailing is. But in Smooth Sailing, instead of a car, you're jumping in a sailboat and you just travel along and try to sail to different islands, and you'll encounter various things like pirate ships, islands. And while you're out there, you can loot the islands for shells. And with the shells, you can buy stuff such as supplies. You can also buy stuff from merchants on the way. So at some point I bought a fireworks. I don't know why I bought fireworks. I also ran into a pirate ship at one point who wanted 15 of my shells. And it's just go around, explore. Now, one thing that was kind of a gotcha for me, actually two things that were kind of a gotcha with this game that confused me. One is if you sit in the middle or the front of the boat, you can't steer it. So make sure you're in the back of the boat, and that way you can steer the boat or wherever you want. The first two times I played the game, I thought I couldn't actually steer the boat, but surely you can. Also, you can jump and the boat will stop, but if you're seated, it will continue to move. So as long as you're seated, it'll move. If you're standing, it'll stop. It seemed like it's single player, but at least the 3 times I played, you might be able to play with others. Also, one thing to note is if you fall into the water, you don't die exactly, but it is pretty hard to get back in the boat. So make sure you're careful about that. You can get back in the boat, so it's not impossible to do. It's just a bit challenging to get back in the boat. They got a weird water system that's not exactly water, so it's almost like they're kind of lifting your character up to simulate swimming, and then so you'll fall a lot. It's kind of weird. But the longer you are in the water, the more damage you're going to take. Thankfully, once you get out of the water, you'll start healing. So it's almost like an oxygen kind of pain system. So just make sure you're out of the water as soon as you can. Also, same for islands. If you fall, you can get back on the island and maybe charge your health up. But yeah, it's a really chill game. If you like something like that, where it's maybe not so much about PvP all the time, it's not fast paced. You just kind of want to chill and explore a cool world. Smooth sailing's for you. Next up, we have Disaster Island, which is a natural disaster survival style game where you need to survive disasters. There's lots of games like this. I think we've had one or two others like this in the series. And this is just another version of it, I guess. I mean, it felt pretty polished. It looked like it was detailed on the builds. But yeah, if you're looking for another disaster survival style game, this one's for you. It's called Disaster Island. I'll link it in the description. Our next game is called Smashy Hands. This is both a PvE and PvP style game where you have survivors versus a seeker. And the seeker looks like one of those VR type characters with the two hands and just a giant head or noob head. And the seeker is able to smash the building apart and try to find the survivors or hiders. And so you do have like about 30 seconds to hide before the match starts. And the entire world is pretty much destructible. So you got to be careful, find a good hiding spot. And you can also spectate the seeker. So if you're curious where they're at, you can kind of, keep an eye on them. But as a seeker, you have kind of a wonky control type feel. I'm sure it's optimized for VR, less so than for mouse or mobile. But I did have some issues with the controls. It felt very laggy. It felt like I was getting caught up on a lot of stuff, probably because of collision with your hands or your body. I'm not sure, but I felt like I was constantly lagging while I was the seeker. And just trying to smash stuff felt very laggy and inconsistent. It was still fun. Like I was able to, take out players, find them pretty quickly. And there's a variety of maps you can choose from. So you can vote for the, different maps. You can also pay to win a little bit if you want to be the seeker or killer. There's been a couple games like this, like Goofy Gods, where you got the killer and you got a bunch of people trying to survive the killer. And after the time runs out, then depending on how well you did versus survivors, then, you get various coins and you can buy upgrades. You can also buy different gloves as the killer. So the different gloves, you can have like acid, you can have explosion. And but yeah, it's pretty simple, straightforward, kind of a cool, like, Goofy God style game. Our next game is called Dummy Wars, and it is inspired by the Battle Cats as well as Battle Bricks, where you need to take out the enemy tower in order to be able to win. And how you do that is you do have various miners who need to, mine resources. And with the resources that they mine or gold that they mine, you can buy different units and deploy them to the enemy tower. And it is single player, so you can go through campaign mode. I don't know if they have multiplayer. I didn't really see any multiplayer, but most of these games do not have multiplayer that I've seen. They start off with a swordsman and a miner. You also get an archer at some point, and then a shielder, which kind of looks like a Spartan style, swordsman. And at some point you do unlock the Titan, who's huge. He's got tons of HP. He's very expensive as well. But this is a cool little tower defense game if you're looking for something to chill with on Roblox. I like it. Definitely different. Now, this next game is not popular yet, but hopefully it will become popular at some point here, and it is called Battle Buccaneers. Shout out to underrated Roblox Games for this one on Twitter. This one is a top-down style pirate shooter, kind of like One Shot. I think it was like a video or two ago, we had a game called One Shot, which was a top-down shooter. This is kind of like it, but a little bit easier to play. You do have a cannon on a pirate ship, and you can configure your pirate ship for different loadouts. There is a kill tracker on the top right, and there's no real like end game. You just jump in, play as long as you want. So there's not really like a match won or a lost kind of mode. Hopefully they'll, add something like that a little bit later. So it feels a little bit more like you're working towards something. But right now it's just more like a slap battles match where it just doesn't really end. And you just jump in, you can kill as many boats as you want, and then you can hop off. So not much to it yet. So that's probably why it's not going to do so well for some time. It's a really fun PvP style game with a top down, pirate ship. Hopefully they'll add some more game modes to it. Maybe add some more, objectives, like I said, and maybe even some shops. So you can, look forward to unlocking stuff, because right now there's not really a point of playing the game. Basically just go in, shoot, kill, and hop out. So again, it's called Battle Buccaneers, and it is a pirate style shooter. Our next game, I ended up playing way too long, almost missed my raid on Pets of 99 because of this, and it is called Eat the World. And I saw this one last week. I was going to feature it, but I didn't because we had so many great games to include, and this one wasn't as impressive as it is to me now. So I spent a lot of time in this game, and it's a lot more interesting than I thought. So in Eat the World, your character literally just eats the world, and by eating the world, your character can get bigger, and once you fill up or meet your max size, you can sell that and you'll go back to regular normal size. So, and with that money, you can increase your run speed. You can also increase the amount that you basically earn or how fast you get sized up. basically like a multiplier. And then you can also increase your max size. As you get bigger, you can eat bigger things. The other thing that's really cool about this is not just about eating the world. So at first I thought it was like a weightlifting simulator, and I thought I was like, great, another one of these. But instead of eating whatever you pick up, you can also throw it using the E key. I'm not sure if mobile has a button that you can use to throw stuff, but on PC it's E. And so it turns into a little bit of a PvP style game as well. And with that comes a lot of opportunity for, you guessed it, pay to win. So I did buy these 2 pay to win options just to check them out. And one of them was kind of like an explosive. So when you throw the world or piece of, I don't know what you want to call it, like piece of the map at players, you can also add an explosion, which as you get bigger, you can also take out like big buildings as well, which is pretty cool. So it's almost like a destruction simulator kind of feel to it. On top of that, you can eat other players, which I thought was pretty funny. So that is a pay to win option. So instead of picking up the world and eating the world, you can actually pick up other players and, you know, you guessed it, eat them and use them for currency. Yeah, this game's a lot of fun. Definitely check it out. It's called Eat the World. And finally, we're coming up onto that scary game. All right, just a little warning. I'm going to give you a 2-second warning. 3, 2. Okay, we're getting into the scary game. This next game is called PARACAM, and it is essentially a body cam style game. There's a lot of these coming out right now where you're looking through, instead of looking through the Roblox character kind of camera, you're looking through a body camera that's more like a police camera or like a recording. And PARACAM is exactly that. It is a police body cam, so it's a story-based style horror game where you need to go through and investigate what happens in this area that you're exploring. And it feels kind of like you're in like a sewer area or a prison. It's kind of weird. Definitely in an underground kind of place, and you're just trying to investigate things. There's some, you know, jump scare sounds, and there's a couple of objectives you need to complete, like starting generators. So I won't spoil it. I'll leave you to experience it, but it's pretty cool. You can, you know, also buy upgraded guns. So if you want like a sniper rifle, a machine gun, things like that, you can get better weapons. I also understand there's other difficulty modes and such. I only experienced the first one and I kind of died. Again, that one's called PARACAM. Really cool, scary game. Anyway, that's it for us for this week. Now, if you have any new games for us to check out, definitely leave that in the comments below. If we use it, I'll shout you out. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next vid. Peace.